Hey everyone, welcome to the National Center for Circus Arts Family Circus Training at Home series. I'm James and this is the first of 6 episodes of how to bring circus into your home. Over the next 6 weeks we're going to look at a number of different circus skills including juggling, tight wire, human pyramids, acrobatics, hoop diving and aerial training. Now in the center, our family circus classes are suitable for an adult and child combined together, and in the past we've had kids as young as 2 3/4 years and kids as old as 7 years, and that's really the age group that we've aimed these sessions at. This week we are looking at juggling. Juggling is a great way to kickstart the series. It is one of the safest things that we can train, and you can do it with nearly anything. You don't need any special equipment, just anything that you can throw and catch safely that's not going to hurt you or break when it hits the ground. This could include balled up socks, stuffed animals, pillows, hats, this, or even actual juggling balls. There are 4 things we're going to be covering today, including throwing things, catching things, how to make juggling a little bit easier, and one cool partner juggling pattern. Finally, the parents, before we get started, please remember our 3 main safety tips. Number 1, please supervise your child at all times. Remember, this is a family circus class, and in a lot of the exercises will require your engagement anyway, but even for the solo exercises or ones that they can do on their own, we highly recommend that they remain supervised while trying these out. Number 2, remove all hazards from the area. Take a moment to make sure you're in a safe space. You've got nothing sharp, nothing rough, nothing hard that's going to damage you when you fall over or your child. Also remove anything valuable or anything that could be broken. As well as this, if you start to use any regular household items in a way that you might consider dangerous if your child tries it unattended, it is probably best to restrict access to those items from now on. And finally, number 3, be careful. Remember that circus is inherently a dangerous activity, and while we have done everything that we can to make sure that these exercises stay as safe as we possibly can, remember that you alone have the sole responsibility for your child's safety, and anything you are unsure of or anything you have your doubts about, it is best to leave that out and move on to something else. So if we're ready to go, take a minute to search your house, find out what you've got to throw, and let's get into it. So first up, we're going to look at throwing. You are going to need an object to throw and a target to throw it at. For the object to throw, you can use anything you want. Myself, I'm using this ball of masking tape. For the target, I'm using a cardboard box. You can use anything you want to use. Just remember that the smaller the target, the more difficult it will be to get your object inside. The exercise is quite simple. You're going to start standing nice and close. You're going to take your object, you're going to try and throw it into the target and see if it lands successfully. Every time it works, you're going to move further and further away. You can move in different directions, you can stand in different positions, and if you run out of space, you can start making your target smaller and smaller to test out your skills. This is a pretty simple idea, but feel free to get as creative as you like with where you put your target and how you throw your object. Okay, so second up we've got catching. For this you will need a soft object to throw and a partner to throw it at you. Feel free to try as many different things as you like. You want to try catching every different type of object that you can. And a quick tip for parents, just remember that in this age group, fine motor skills are not quite developed yet. So bigger objects are always going to be easier to catch, and more of the catching is done with our eyes than with our limbs. Or to put it another way, the best way to throw the object, assuming it's soft enough, is throwing it directly at their face. Now that being said, once you've got successful at catching a few times, you want to start to challenge this. So you can try different objects. You can start making them a little harder to grip. You can start making them a little smaller, and you can start throwing them to different locations to help challenge their catching abilities. And as the ultimate challenge, try throwing a different object every single time. So, we've mastered throwing, we've mastered catching, now it's time to try and stick those 2 together. Now this can be a little bit tricky when you're trying to throw and catch something by yourself, especially when you're learning to do it for the first time. So here's a few tips to make that a little easier. One way you can make throwing and catching easier is to use objects with more air resistance, so that it takes longer to fall to the ground. Now normally at the circus we'll use something like these juggling scarves, and if you've got something that's made out of a material like this, then that is perfect. If not, however, don't worry, we can get the same effect out of using things like paper or plastic bags. For safety reasons, if you do choose to use a plastic bag, please make sure you cut it up so it's completely open. You don't want any space to be able to get trapped inside, and also please ensure to remove it after you've had your session. Once it's all cut up, it works exactly like a juggling scarf. Just put your hand on the very top and you throw it as high as you can. This will give you a lot more time and make it much easier to think about catching afterwards. As a similar alternative, you can also use paper for this. So just get it all scrunched up and again, throw it, see where it goes, try and catch it. Now for the final step in our juggling skills, we're going to have a look at a 3-ball partner juggling pattern. You're going to need 3 objects, a little bit smaller than in the other exercises, and a partner. The rules for this are really easy. One person is going to start with 2 objects, one person is going to start with 1 object. The person with 2 objects is always going to pass in diagonal lines. The person with 1 object is always going to pass in straight lines. And finally, the person with 2 objects is going to start first. You can try a lot of different positions and configurations with this, and the rules stay the same no matter what. You can choose to roll the object, throw the object, pass the object. You can try this pattern standing or sitting in lots of different positions. So that's the end of our juggling session. We hope you've enjoyed it. We'd love to hear your questions and comments about how it went, and we'll see you next time.